these go the other way as well?
No,
Nice,
it's an
Brian.
official report. It's original. I should probably
That looks
sign
like
it.
mine. I do that at my workbook all the time.
And he hates it, but.
Oh, that is professional.
It's an official
It is
watermark.
professional.
So
That
this
is
one-
watermark.
That's how we did stuff at Corn Police Department.
We did it intentionally.
Because every
You
cop
gotta
is
vote that,
coffee
man. You can't
and
do that now.
donuts.
They're broke now, aren't they?
What?
The state's taking
The
over.
city's broke. Police department's fine.
They have their own budget.
I had two stop out today, Brian Murphy and Greg House. We were out to range.
Man, Hosmer's, man, Hosmer needs to leave.
Yeah, hi.
I can't believe his old
Like 66.
Dude, he was 38, he was 38 already.
What?
Daycare?
So,
Him and Metcalf joined like.
Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. I cannot lie. I'm glad it's warm. We're cool in here, and it's been so windy all day and warm outside. I think I've been in and out of buildings today more than I normally am, so not complaining. Love, love, love this weather. But thank you. Welcome to everybody here in the audience. With that,
Madam President,
yes.
since we just said the pledge, I would like to respectfully ask for a moment of silence. Today is the 30-year anniversary of the USS Stark. It was hit by two Exocet missiles. Iraqi jet-fired missiles. 37 were killed, including 20-year-old Petty Officer 3rd Class Kelly Quick of Swartz Creek, and 21 were wounded. So I would request that we take a moment of silence, please.
Thank you, Brian. And thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. With that, I have been asked if we could remove the approval of the agenda and make it 8D.
No, not the approval of.
Oh, I thought you were saying that.
She's adding a discussion.
Adding a
Yes.
discussion item
Yes.
to talk about agenda review.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
No, that's okay.
So
Okay,
we're
agenda review.
on which one? Are we moving?
So we're not changing the consent agenda.
No.
We're moving,
Okay, great.
adding a.
Great, okay.
I'm just hungry.
So I would entertain a motion for the consent agenda with the change of adding 8D to talk about agenda review meeting, right?
So moved. Support.
Any comments or questions? Mike and Brian? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Superintendent report.
I first would like to, just as a matter of celebration, we have two of our staff members. There will probably be a couple more, but two right now. Terry Pickens, who has worked in our district for 19 years, and Connie Nethercutt, who has worked in our district for 24 years, are going to be retiring at the end of this year. So just like to publicly thank them for their service. We did a little bit of a recognition for them yesterday. We met we had all of the teachers come together, and we did just a brief recognition of them. But I would just like to honor their work and thank them for their service to our students here in Swartz Creek. I also would like at this time to turn the floor over to Rod, who's going to introduce our guest who's here to talk about the band program.
All right, thank you. We have Mrs. Murdoch with us to give the band presentation, and I'm going to go over and click.
All right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Before Rod starts the presentation, there are a couple things I left off, and I wanted to share this with you. The Band Boosters did a letter fundraiser similar to what the softball teams have done in the past, and it was very profitable last year and this year, and they're going to be replacing the middle school band lockers from 1974. So we're taking account. Some kids and I measured, and Mr. Claren and I met today, and we're going to get the ball rolling. Wenger Company will be coming in to replace those, so very soon. And I also forgot we are going to be hosting a middle school solo ensemble on June 7th. if you'd like to come over and watch some of the kids. We've got about 30 events so far scheduled. Okay. You can click right past me, and I'm gonna turn. I'm sorry.
No, yes, you're
Be
fine.
in your
I'm
face.
just turning.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna take you through the year. We started in July with freshman camp for the marching band, and then the next week, everybody was there. And you notice on the bottom left, we can't do it without the parents, because they came in, they grilled for us, they cooked dinner for us every night. They send food home, and the boosters do the shopping, and they just really help us out. The tubas have their, they have sectioned together, they have their shirts, and they also switched the letters around. It was kind of silly. But there's a shot from the show, or right before the show, because they don't have their shirts on yet, their band camp shirts. There with the trumpet section, and Mitchell Carlson up there on the left. He's also a varsity football player as a sophomore. We had 2 of those. And the little girls in the top, they play flute. And if you're familiar with marching band, their shirts are cute because they say, "Welcome to the back of the field," which the flute players usually are. Okay. Right after camp, a couple weeks later, after rehearsals and things, we do the Special Olympic run at the crib on Friday night. And then we're up at 6 o'clock in the morning the next day. You can tell the kids look tired. And we're playing for the 10-mile world race too. Homecoming. Need I say more? It was wet.
No.
Okay, our drum line learned the hard way. Please, hey, listen to your directors, wear your raincoats. And that's the very end when the kids were just like, to go at ease there, and they were just soaked. Marching Band Festival this year, in addition to all the home football games, they went to Marching Band Festival over in at Goodrich High School, and they earned a first division rating, straight A's from all 3 judges. And one of the judges told me incognito our drum line smoked everybody else. And I said, I'm not telling them because they have big heads already. We went to EMU Band Day. That was an experience. If you notice the tuba bell on the bottom, it didn't look like that when we left school that morning.
Oh.
Our band trailer unfortunately had an accident on the way down. And there were some instruments that were damaged. And our trailer is totaled. So we're working on that. There's a shot of the kids in the stands, and EMU had their drone down there to get a shot. There were about 25 bands from around the mostly Ann Arbor, Detroit area, and we went down for that too. We were all in the, well, actually we're spread all over the field this year because they had the sections together. The girls up there in the top, our color guard, had never done this before because we've been in years. They competed in their color guard competition. There were 20 color guards that competed, and our girls didn't have their equipment because our trailer didn't make it for the rehearsal.
Oh.
They borrowed equipment from EMU. One of the girls even performed in her UGG winter boots, and they won first place.
Oh my
So,
God.
we didn't even have all of our color guard there because some had a cross country thing that day too. So we only had 4 of our girls there, but they still won, and they got to perform at halftime in front of the mass band. And a couple weeks later, we were at Cedar Point. Kept them busy. You can go ahead, it's all good. A new thing this year, the 7th graders, I felt that they needed to do a performance before the holiday concert. And this was new this year. They did a Halloween concert, and all the kids dressed up. My favorite costume was the drummer that played with it, was Gumby. He was behind the drum set. It was great. And the Hill kids, we have the Hill family in our district. Their dad is a band director at Oxford. Johnny is the taller, and Anna, and little Scooby is Andrew. They came out for our Scooby-Doo song and helped us out. It was very nice of them to do that. So that was a lot of fun, and plan to continue that. Looking forward to doing it next year. The next concert was all of the high school bands, right at the end of the marching season. Concert band and wind ensemble have a week and a half to get something prepared and get out of marching band tone. And jazz band performed also, and we always highlight the Dragon March when we have their season finale. Then we got a cold parade. That was the same day as, actually it wasn't this year, it always has been the same day as middle school solo ensemble up in North Branch, but it was a week later this year. It wasn't too bad. The kids enjoy this, they get to light up their instruments, and they go down to the fire hall and have a good time, so. They really do enjoy doing that. I enjoy it when I have hand and foot warmers, but that's good. Yes. We had holiday concerts from all the groups listed here, 6th grade middle school jazz band team up, then 7th and 8th grade band together, and then of course the high school bands, concert band, wind ensemble, and jazz band perform a concert together. MSBOA, that's Michigan School Band and Orchestra Association. We have a District 3 honors band, and we had 5 students on the right from our middle school that were accepted into that group, and 5 students on the left from our high school. And there's a shot of the middle school full band on stage during rehearsal in the afternoon, and that was down at Ortonville Brandon High School.
Wow. How many kids is there in that?
About 120 in,
Wow,
in
that's
each
great.
group.
That was a lot of
Yeah.
kids.
They try to take 4, 5, 6 from each school.
Wow.
And I know this is a silly shot, but we hosted, I'm sorry to cut that out, made the picture too big. We hosted high school solo ensemble for MSBOA this year, our 2nd year. And these boys worked Friday evening, setting up, came and performed Saturday, and stayed till the very end, and that was their last thing before we went home, was to have a little ride on the way across the These boys, across the country, there is a thing called Tuba Christmas, and it's just for tubas and euphonium players, and they get together and play Christmas carols. There are 2 that I know of in Michigan. One is here in Flint, and there's one in Jackson every year. And we usually have kids go, and we had 4 tuba players go this year. They look forward to it. We have 2 young ladies, I'll show you, right here. They've been to Hong Kong, or not Hong Kong, I went to Hong Kong with that group. They went to Japan, and right there, and they've also been to Hawaii with the Michigan Lions All-State Band. This year they're going to Chicago, and they perform wherever the Lions International Convention is held in the world. And it's a great youth organization. Kids learn wonderful things, and the touring isn't as neat. The memories they get from some of the places they perform, like veterans hospitals and orphanages, things like that. That's some of the best memories. I think my most special memory as a director of that band was taking 4 students into a room with a soldier who had less, just a couple hours maybe to live. And the kids talked with him and held his hand, and it was just really special. And the kids were great. So I can't say enough good about that organization. We always send kids to that group. Pre-festival concerts, all those. And a week and a half later, we did festival here in Swartz Creek again. It was our first time, and they asked us to do it again next year. We don't know if it'll be Thursday and Friday or Friday and Saturday yet, but we'll find out. We have a winter guard here. You see our color guard in the fall football games. We have a winter guard, and they compete across the state through the winter. It was started by a young man named Scott Bennett several years ago. And Scott is actually a color guard coach for one of the drum corps in the United States now that's from Illinois. And you'll see his picture later in the alumni stuff. But our winter guard came in 2nd at state finals this year. I don't know if you can see the poster real well though on this. All of our bands earned a medal. Our 7th grade was that close.
Yes, they were. They were mad.
If one B+ had been an A-, doggone it, they would have had a 1 also. But first time, and that's very good. If you have a mix of 1s and 2s, or if you have a 2, that's great because kids, they earn a medal either way. The 8th grade band, and they earned a 1 overall. Both high school bands earned straight 1s and straight A's from their judges. spring concerts just took place last week and last night. And 6th grade and middle school jazz band were last week, and the 7th and 8th grade. One was Tuesday and one was Thursday. And both groups, all the groups did a really nice job. I only have a shot of concert band from last night. I was looking through the parents' Facebook post today, and that's our shot on stage last night. Are there one I need to get? I have to.
Sorry, I had one I could have sent you.
We'll help you.
I'll have to get some of those and stick in there.
Sorry.
But that's my group on stage last night, and they did a wonderful job. We honor our seniors, and we have 21 seniors this year. And here's some of the kids from the wind ensemble that performed with Mr. Michael last night. Austin Soto was getting his senior award last night there on the right. And the kids on the left in the picture, the two on the far left are both Soto's kids. And the other two are the Gruno family, two of their kids. And they have been friends since kindergarten. So that was really special to put that out there today. And we still have coming up hometown days, hoping for about 65-degree weather.
Yeah.
That's my hope for the kids, for the little ones.
Yeah.
And John shared this with me today. Over the past 22 years, we've had 15 valedictorians, 18 salutatorians, and 170 out of the 220 top 10 graduates will be in our program. So we're very, very proud of that. Alumni, this isn't all of them that are busy playing their instruments still. There are more. Jacob Wright, U of M, just graduated. He's going to be a police officer, and he's actually interviewing in Flint Township. Scott Bennett founded our color guard. Thomas Warner with Frenchhorn, he's a freshman at U of M. Engineering major, I believe. But he's playing down there still. Drew Hosler with a saxophone down on the bottom of the left is a saxophone performance major at Bowling Green, freshman. Becca DeYoung, she's kind of posed sideways there. She's our color guard coach, along with her sister, who's next to her on the right, and they both compete in adult national guards, and they both went to the national finals. Becca's group came in 17th in the top category out of 100 groups, and Danielle's came in 3rd out of, I don't know how many groups they had, but hers is just a little below what Becca's does. The young lady on the bottom is Gretchen Hill, and she's a freshman clarinet performance major at Bowling Green State. And on the far right, Sarah Hardiker, she just received her master's degree in clarinet performance from Michigan State. And she works at my favorite instrument repair shop in East Lansing. I see her quite often. Do you have any questions for me?
Could you speak just a little bit about the trip that you're proposing for next spring?
Sure,
So
I'd be glad
just
to.
give us kind of the brief details of
Well,
that.
the paper that you have is actually from a school where I taught before I was actually a teacher. They hired me to teach marching band there, so that was one that came in. The gentleman that's doing this, that did this bid, is, I've worked with him 11 times, and he does an excellent job. What we want to do, we would like to take the high school band down to Disney in the 2019 school year during spring vacation. They would have at least 2 major performance venues there, one being a parade at Disney, one of the Disney properties. Last time it was at Disney World. And then another day, we'll take them for a workshop. It's called Your Instrumental. And that workshop entails working with a Disney conductor, and he walks the kids through what it takes to be a professional musician. He or she, it was a he last time. He showed them, he asked them, how many rehearsals do you think people get before they record a soundtrack? And the kids are like, oh, you got weeks or months, and they said, no, 1. That's it, guys, 1 rehearsal. And you're gonna do that in 1 rehearsal. And what we did was a short clip from the Tarzan movie. And the kids recorded the music, and we got a CD with that video with our kids performing the music. And we'd like to do that again. We did go to Epcot, we did all of it. The Animal Kingdom was not quite open before we went last time. but we'd like to do something very similar to that. Rob is our travel guy here that I've spoken with, and he breaks it down pretty well. He does have a full itinerary. If you'd like to see one, I could email you a full itinerary. I'd be happy to. He's got different ones, but they're set up for different bands. Ours, obviously, he cannot give us an exact quote, and he needs to meet with us and decide exactly what we want first, but this is a ballpark.
When he does this, I don't know if it's a typo or not, but it says 3
I
nights.
know what you're, yep, because you spend 2 nights on a bus.
You sleep in the bus, huh? Traveling?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you're only really down there the 3 days, 4 days then?
Well, we were there 4 days last time,
Okay.
and that's what we'd like to do, yes. It was, I remember someone being very angry with me because they said, why do we have to leave? We want to watch the fireworks tonight. We watched the fireworks 3 nights prior, and I said, because your parents are expecting you back there at 3:30 in the morning, and we're gonna be there at 3:30 in the morning. It was then, but I don't know what our schedule's gonna be. I did not like the company we used last time. I've traveled a lot with the Allstate band, and what I like about Bob Rogers is I know Rob will be 20 steps ahead of us. He's always on the phone, checking the next venue to make sure things are done properly. I've traveled with great people. We had someone else one year that he couldn't do it. They were terrible. Our last company, they had a couple that met us. Here are your Disney tickets. Have fun. So, who's troubleshooting for us? And that's why I called him right away. But I'm sure he'd come in and, if you'd like to talk to Rob, he's done it lots of times. He's taken groups overseas many times.
And the reason that we need to approve this now is because it's in the spring of 2019.
Yes.
And you need to be able to start talking to parents about it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So really what you're asking us to do more than the specifics of the itinerary is to approve the trip. And
Yes,
then-
this is not a specific itinerary. This is a ballpark estimate. And he said if fuel costs may go up, fuel costs may go down. You know, a lot of it's based on that, on the bus fuel that we use. And I know they will use good companies for the buses too.
Kinda, wouldn't it?
We had a bad bus company.
But that would be Kenneth's group, right?
Yes.
Wow,
9th grade.
how exciting.
All right.
Anything else?
I would just like to say that you and John do a terrific job, and thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
It's kind of fun to go to work and have fun all the time.
Yes, yes.
And it takes a special person to be in there.
I learned from the best. That's what I say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane, appreciate it.
Thank you very much. So a couple other things on my update. On Monday morning, early in the morning, I had the opportunity to walk the property, which is behind this facility here and actually to the west of the middle school. I know that Brian will be talking a little bit more about that in his update, but had a very positive meeting with the person who owns the property. I'll probably be communicating with you a little bit more early this next week, just about next steps with that. The property itself is very rolling. There are several low spots, but it's amazingly filled with nature when you're back there and you realize you're still in the city of Swartz Creek. So it's a pretty neat opportunity. So I'd like to talk to you more about that encounter. Also, yesterday we had all of the teachers together for professional development, and it was the first time that I was able to work with them as a whole group and starting to cast the vision for our new instructional framework, which, as we've talked about, we're going to be going out this summer and being trained further. But we kind of set some parameters and started to cast the vision for next year and our focus being culture and student engagement. And so we're going to be really honed in on that as a district. When we're working with teachers and helping them understand what the priorities are, those are needs that have emerged throughout many conversations with a variety of stakeholders, but that's something that we're going to be launching into in the fall. And Many of you received, all of you received the communication on some of the staffing changes administratively. We did put the information out to parents on Friday, and have had several conversations with staff even this week, just going around to the buildings and answering questions and things like that. Tomorrow, the administrative team meets to go through staffing for teachers and support staff. We've met one day, and I'll put Rod on the spot real quick, but why don't you kind of explain your thoughts, having been through the process for many years? How did this process look similar or different?
Well, it started out similar. You know, you're talking to all the buildings and the positions. I think the greatest difference was Ben was able to walk us through a K-12 perspective, taking a look at how every position impacts every other position. And so the elementary really got to have a feel for how secondary impacts them, and secondary with elementary late, and had many conversations. So it was a very healthy process.
Yeah, it was to take a K-12 look at efficiency. Obviously, we would love to be able to say every teacher can have 15 kids in a classroom, but financially we can't afford that. So we have to look at, what are our priorities? And if we have 5 or 6 students that are, or maybe 18 students even in a class in 6th grade or 8th grade, yet I have 32 that are going to be slated for 1st grade, how can we make some shifts to try and alleviate that class size at the lower elementary school? So we took a K-12 look at it, and tomorrow we're going to sit down to finalize that conversation, and then by next week we'll be able to inform staff of their assignments for next year. And of course, we can't ever determine exactly who's going to come and register in the summertime, but at least we can give staff a pretty good idea for the majority of them what their assignment would be moving into next year. So other than that, that is the end of my report.
Any other questions for Ben? With regard to the board subcommittee reports, agenda review met last week and discussed the agenda that's before you, recommended that it be brought to the full board for approval. Stacy, I know you have agenda review, and I think Brian, you have voted and site. Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And if I miss anything, it's been a while, you can pop in. Yes, that's okay. I'm just gonna go over the notes I had from back then. It was for the Swartz Middle School early release review and standard-based grading and learning. They're going to go over restorative practices, to have empathy with children, and learn how to do that in the greatest way that they can. The next steps for the middle school are 5 steps. 1 is behavior and academic separation system. 2 is move to a 4-point standards. 3, develop learning progressions. 4, hold parent learning workshops in the summer and fall of 2017, and launch building-wide standards in 2017. And with the standard-based grading, meaningful grading and reporting reform, how this ties into the new instructional framework, learning targets, understanding grading and reporting, success criteria, making sure you know what you have learned. The scale from 1 to 4. I don't know, I put pull from the last 5. I don't know. Do you remember why I would write that? I don't know. I was just jotting notes out. Scratch that out. Why is grading so important? There's 5 principles of grading. 1 is grades will not be mixed. 2, consistency. 3, grading will support learning. 4, grade will relate to clarified, defined standards. And 5, grades will be determined by appropriate calculation methods and scales. And that's kind of what I have. Anything else I missed?
Well, the presentation was a co-presentation with Ben, myself, Travis, who dealt with the Power School and how everything ties in so that it can be done smoothly electronically, and Dave Simonson, who talked about all the CREEP behavior expectations. And as far as where we're at on those 5 things we're going to accomplish, actually meeting with Kevin on Friday to set up our learning progression conversations, and he's already got a schedule laid out for staff to lay those progressions out, what they look like on a 4-point scale.
Great. Any questions for Stacy or Rob?
you.
Welcome, thank you.
Building and site. If you, in your packet, there's basically an agenda, a nice written agenda. But my cliff notes are still on the computer. We missed you today.
I've been gone the last week.
Well,
That's okay.
we missed you. Anyway, they're in the computer, and I'm sure we can get those out. Because you don't want to read these things. Like that. I don't think you could read these. Starting at the top, the entry doors, Mary Crapel Middle School and Elms, they're all measured, waiting for pricing along with Mary Crapel. Restrooms, Middle School and Deke, they're measuring partitions this week so they can lock in pricing. And they're looking to get them through Dover door. And also at the academy on the east section upstairs, they're looking to replace some partitions up there. Finish off the new key system, Middle School, Deke, Elms, and Moorish. Fenton Lock has the list of doors to start replacing the cylinders and hardware as needed. The rekeying of cylinders, hardware necessary, approximately 40 cylinders to replace. Regrout pool, once school's out, they've got about a week window to come in. Johnson Pool's going to do it, and they're going to regrout the pool. Boiler at Moorish, we're going to do the install. That's going to be in-house, but the boiler is sitting in Lansing. The vendor, it's about a $11,000 boiler, so it's just waiting to be installed. Sidewalks, Elms High School and Deke, waiting for pricing from second contractor. Locker rooms, high school started painting when school is out. They're going to freshen it up. Parking lot patching, same, starting as soon as school is out. PAC entry sign, it's completed. I don't know if anybody's seen that. Two nice signs.
I did, it's very nice.
Very nice.
Yes,
Very nice.
I was gonna say
So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
The Gaines arsenic water system received 2 quotes, possibly 3, and we'll be bringing it back to the board. It's going to be approximately $19,000. They need to remove, flush. They need to haul away the hazardous material waste and then install the new. The PAC band practice field. Mr. Chapman is able to get some beams, some steel beams that he's going to walk around that practice field over here, and he's going to drive them into the ground so far, maybe 2 foot, to keep cars. They're going to be close enough where cars cannot drive over, across, or through, and get onto the turf over there. So they were donated from Swartz Creek DPW, and they'll be installing them along the access drive in the next 2 weeks to keep cars from driving on the field. Elms Kitchen had an official RFP proposal, and waiting for those. I think they were open. I see. Bids will be open on Monday, 5/8, so they've already been open then.
They've been open, and we'll bring a recommendation at our next board meeting.
Okay, and that is budgeted through the cafeteria fund.
Mm-hmm.
We had some discussion about the property over here for sale. There's some good things about this. Sometimes there's opportunities. Can we afford it? Well, that's going to be a question the board will have to answer. But 52 acres. What's cool about it is it's contained within our campus. It's contiguous to our campus. There's a lot of potential, future potential, and even if we had the property, it's not that we have to develop it now. I mean, if we could get the property and into the future, work out something with it. But we're also looking at possibly partnering with youth baseball. The city of Swartz Creek, it's 52 acres. And as we look, possibly grant monies to enhance and develop it, maybe trails, maybe cross-country trails, maybe even baseball fields. So it's really the dream's there. We can do whatever we want to, and we can invite whoever we want to in this deal if we decide to do that. But that will be a continuing board discussion into the future, and maybe that facilities audit will kind of help us decide what direction once we get that completed. High school buzzer system, we're looking at, I think it was $5,000 for a buzzer system like the middle school or elementary schools.
That would include the camera and the buzzing system and the locking mechanism. Numbers on the exterior doors will happen as soon as school's out. And then we need to check with the county. I think Bill Chapman's going to check with the county as far as the blue ribbon school signs, where we get them and how we post them for Gaines School to recognize that they are a blue ribbon school.
And we also had a discussion on the weight room at the high school.
Yes.
And that facility really needs to be looked at, not just the floors, but also the equipment that's there. Even there's some cages, if you've seen in that area, where they kind of large cages, and some paint would help, but also I think just to kind of give it a facelift that maybe wouldn't cost a lot of money, but just some cosmetic upgrades there.
Any other questions?
I got a question. The pack signs look great, but when we talked about it and building a site, we talked about it was going to have lights on it. Is that still in the
I
works?
thought that too.
Yeah, I think we are looking into the best way to do that, whether we could get a small solar kit, you know, or if we
Okay.
have to tie in and have an electrician tie in for us. So, but I think that we can definitely do that. And it's nice that they're white because they're pretty visible. So.
To piggyback though, weren't we gonna do something down the drive too as far as lights, cause it gets dark back there? I thought we discussed
There
that.
are lights. Lights have been installed.
Oh, okay, I haven't been there at night, so okay, good enough, thanks.
But we have had people driving on that practice field and tearing up the turf quite a bit. And so that's part of the conversation of the donation of those steel I-beams will be a pretty big deterrent for anyone wanting to do that. So,
Yeah, good,
Thank
okay,
you.
great.
yeah,
I'll only do it once.
that's right. Right.
Yes.
I would just like to say that the PAC signs look really nice out front. I just wondered, is anything gonna be done out here for our curb appeal in front of our,
You mean if administration building?
Yes.
We didn't bring that up, but it would be nice if it's permanent. Yes. We'll bring
Some
that
mulch
next-
and, you know, some of the estimated flowers, landscaping.
If,
and fix where the plow tore up the dirt, tore up on the side of the sidewalk?
in reference to the property, when we keep talking about that property, could maybe, if it's gonna be part of the discussion topic, I'd like to know, we keep talking about the city and this one and that one. I'd like to know what is that vision? What is that, I guess, partnership gonna be? Because if we're not sure what we're gonna do with that property, I don't know how we can sit here and keep, every time we have this discussion, we include the city. What is the city gonna do if we don't know what we're doing with it? So, we've got some questions to answer in reference to, do we wanna buy this property or not? And, you know, I don't know that, I think it would be beneficial to, youth baseball, but it would also be beneficial if youth baseball was just allowed to use 2 softball diamonds in the summer. Those things sit pretty much vacant, and everybody's just told to stay off them. So I mean, there's issues there. If you want to help out youth baseball, they probably enjoy that lake today. We have facilities that sit here that are so guarded that for one reason or another, people are still told to stay off them. I think Tony can back me up on this. For a year or 2, 3, we were told to stay off the football field. The lacrosse team was. And so, you know, if you want to start helping these other groups, start helping them today. The youth baseball's begged to use those softball diamonds for years. And I understand we don't want them to come tear them up, but let's give them an opportunity. And if they do, then I say take it away from them. But, you know, we've had youth football, they literally 2 years ago, they were removed from the football field. We had to travel to Fenton. We had to rent Fenton.
We did.
It was ridiculous. So, you know, I mean, let's clean up some of our own issues here before we start talking about, well, we're gonna do this with this one, because, you know, we turn our back on these youth programs, and it happens consistently. So,
Isn't there a facility usage form that you can fill out, right? If you wanna rent the gym fields or?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
So then are those being filled out and then denied? Do we know?
Football one was, yeah.
I don't have that answer. Not sure.
And what
I
they,
mean, like the answer for the youth baseball, that would be a pretty, we could find that out real quick.
yeah, it's just
If
not
they-
even, it's been told it's not an option.
But the form's being filled out and
No.
they've been told.
No.
So they're not
They
even
don't even
filling
get
out-
that far. They get told no.
Well, that's the first step, is filling out the form, right?
They just get told no.
So they're not trying.
Yes, they are. Go talk to some people that's done youth baseball in the last 5-10 years. They will inform you. Yeah, it's the same thing there. When they got thrown off the football field, it was, well, it might rain some more. Well, it didn't. They spent over $1,000. They gave Fenton High School or Fenton School District $1,000 to use their field for a day. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't think those little boys could have done $1,000 worth of damage to that football field. And if they did, hey, here, go buy a couple yards of dirt and some grass seed. You can plant it in the spring.
I think maybe on that account, it wasn't the damage to the field, it was the safety of the players on that
No.
day.
Damage. Again, talk to them.
I've lived it.
Yeah,
Done the
we
youth
have.
football and the lacrosse.
We have. I mean,
Now, is lacrosse using our field right now?
Mm-hmm.
Now they are.
Now they
Good
are.
enough, because I thought I saw a picture, so they've changed that then.
But
But yeah, those softball fields over here at the middle school are pretty protected in ways where even that day it rained, I said they canceled our game. Like, what was the reason? It was silly. There was no reason I can think of unless I get one, but,
Well,
I agree.
it is, again, I'll come back to, we have one baseball facility. I mean, when you start getting rainy seasons and you have to make up games, some of those kids don't make up games.
We don't make them out.
So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can address.
But that's what this property would be addressing, right?
Yeah, that
Is
would be.
adding fields.
That would help.
I don't know if we can't
I
add
think,
fields
I
out
think it's
here.
so early, we have to talk
Right,
about
right.
what that's gonna look like, but I think it's certainly a
That
possibility.
might be a possibility, sure.
But I don't, can you make up a junior varsity boys game on a softball field? Are the dimensions the same?
No, the softball fields I was talking about was youth baseball wanted to use them. And I guess she's saying some softball games are canceled. I don't know anything
Yeah,
about that.
for seventh grade, just for my daughter.
Can youth baseball use those fields? Is the dimensions the same?
Yes, they'll use them, they
Are
love
they?
using them.
Well, and there's so many youth teams, they wouldn't obviously all be able to, because they at least be able to accommodate it. But I don't know, like, even when, softball season starts and the parents go, you're told that, precedence will be varsity. It will be, and I get that, but you're pretty much shunned a little bit, and that's the conversation. And she says she doesn't necessarily agree, but it's the way it is. So I get it, and it'd be nice to have something different.
That this is early in the process.
So
Yeah,
early.
But,
for
but
sure.
it would be interesting to know what other communities do collaboratively with their city government and with other groups to establish like a healthy area or a nature area or walking and running trails and those types of things. I don't know if you have connections to other folks in the state that might have done something similar.
Yeah, I can ask around. I know in Grand Blanc, in talking with their superintendent, they had a DNR grant that they used to fund the construction. That was a partnership with the city, the school district, and actually their Parks and Rec is a separate entity. So there's a couple options that we can look into.
Well, it is, we are using our own elementary fields too. You know what I mean? Like, we use Elms, we're using that. We use Cyrene, so it's not like we're not using for youth softball. Kenna's practices Morris Road at the Nazarene Church, but other than that, you're using all of your fields in Swartz, really, but they're just at the elementaries. So they're able to at least use them, which is great.
The upkeep could be better.
And I think Flint Township itself had a grant for all those walking trails and cycling trails they have around the city government complex. Yeah, I
So-
thought that was all grant money.
So again, let's find out what the grants are gonna be, what the deal is with the city,
I agree.
because no matter what you do with that field, if you make walking trails or anything else, I'm not trying to be rain on anyone's parade. How's that educating children?
Right, we have to have a purpose. and
So,
that's- we need to establish a purpose.
that's supposed to be our number one goal. And I don't mind thinking outside the box, but we have a lot of things we can clean up of our own right now before we start going down that path.
And I think the bottom line is the cost. I mean, before we spend a lot of time on it, we need to know where we're at with funding, either.
Right.
Any other questions for building the site?
Thanks, Brian. All right,
Moving on to informational items, we didn't have any questions for you to answer for this meeting. And employment of non-certified staff.
You have it in your packet. We hired two, we got an educational aide, Stephanie Walker, and a caregiver at the CDC, Alexis Wilhelm.
They're already on board.
They're on board.
Okay. Payment of bills, information.
You should have the check register, and then next week on Monday, Mr. Ahern is going to meet with the audit review team, and then he'll have a report at the next meeting.
Okay. Board discussion items, we've added a D, which is agenda review committee, curriculum and text purchases.
So before you have a quote from McGraw-Hill, and I'll let Mr. Heatherton kind of briefly go through that with you.
So back at academic achievement a while ago, I think it was in January or February, we talked about the math books at the high school, and the group that is in most disarray is our high school geometry sets. Not enough sets of geometry books to go around. We kind of did some looking at what was the biggest need in the math department, which we have done in the past, is updated elementary and middle school math in the last 5-6 years. So the math department has constantly trying to upgrade, took a look at a couple of different vendors. This vendor happens to be the same vendor that is used for the middle school program. And the quote there includes both a per price for books as well as an electronic component. And it's called ALEX. It's an adaptive online math program with open response questioning, and students are able to use that to individualize their learning, take assessments, and access information from home. So it's a textbook purchase along with an electronic component so that they can access materials, individual work, as well as assessment. So you can see that quote comes in at 47.
I'm not asking you to approve this tonight, but if you had any questions, we want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions.
So, I don't know the term, I apologize, but the workbooks, are those part of this?
There would be no workbooks at the high school level. These would all be hard bound
And then online
copies and then
access.
online access. Yeah. So I think it's like 330 licenses for the online access and 330 hard copies.
All right.
No questions?
I have a question. Our first page has the total that you just said, 47,000. The second page says 45,000, and then the grand total is 47,000. So
2,152 and 86 and shipping and handling on the last page. You can see after the 45.
okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yep.
Maybe we have a road trip, and just pick it up.
Yeah.
Is it worth a couple times? So when we had a meeting earlier this past week, I had given you the Neola templates, and this is a large packet which we don't need to go through and read everything. I think it gives you kind of the beginning, gives you the synopsis of it, and then what we really want to try and focus on for the discussion, just to bring awareness, is the white sections, which are actual policies that you'll need to make some decisions on. Specifically, if we look at page, and it would be helpful if they were numbered, but it's going to be page 2 of 6 where it says 7540. It's going to be in the white section. So something that if you look at the down in the center there, it talks about this particular page actually talks about the a technology governance committee, and this is part of a new statute. And this actually has to be implemented next year. So I will have to, as a matter of this policy, implement a technology governance committee, which is something that we will be putting into place. One of the decisions that you'll have to make on top of officially approving this would be to determine if you want this team to report changes and amendments and revisions to the governance committee and different processes and protocols they use, or if you want to all of those decisions that they would recommend to you as a board. So that's there, as you see, where you can kind of choose report or recommend for approval. So depends on how much oversight you want to have hands-on on that. The other pages are going to be fairly self-explanatory, as you'll see where different older policies have strike-through. The bold would be the new language, and again, that's going to be based on law. If you look at page 5 of 6 and 7540, you're going to see where we have options, and so I should say 4 of 6. So you're going to be picking one of those 3 options. I'll be making some recommendations on this particular 7540. There are some things that I think we need to consider, and that is prohibiting students from using technology resources and access to social media. That would be option 3. I don't necessarily recommend that be the direction you go, because I just don't think that that's going to be able to keep up with the kids and the management of the technology. We've actually been able to make a shift to being able to help them use technology, and technology is wonderful, and it can also be very harmful in the same breath. But I think to take the approach that we would prohibit students from using it is a pretty long step backwards. So I would recommend that you look at those first 2 options for that particular piece.
Is it that option number 3 just social media?
Yes.
Not the other things in the classroom? So
Correct.
I guess I'm a little confused.
Yeah, so for example, we have Facebook Live, or you could do a Twitter chat, or YouTube Live, for example, and kids are creating videos and they're streaming those videos and they're doing educational collaborative projects together. Those avenues in option 3 would not be opportunities for students, and so I think it limits us unnecessarily. Now, I think we need to have policies in place to, make sure that we're accurately policing those and making sure that we don't have kids that are posting inappropriate things. That goes without saying, but I think that option 3, just if I'm making a recommendation, obviously you have to decide what you think you want to do. I think sometimes what that does is it puts us in a position where they don't have access to the technology that they will be using as soon as they leave Swartz Creek. And actually they will be at home, so would we want them to use it appropriately and teach them how to access it and use it appropriately? I think that's really the kind of the question that you have to think through as you're making a decision.
Well, and they've been accessing those since we went wireless 3 years ago.
If you go back to page 2 of 6, it refers to policy number 5136, and I looked at that, and basically there's no expectation of privacy on school property. Does that include would that include here?
Yes. When you're in school, if you're using our wireless access points and you're using our networks and things like that, there isn't an expectation of that. Where I think it becomes more of a gray area is when they're using their own personal technology.
Doesn't that policy refer to the use of theirs, like their phone?
I do believe so.
And it says they have no expectation of privacy if they use it on school property.
And I think what that's specifically referring to is when they're using our wireless network ports, because we have wireless, particularly at a school where most kids would be using it at a high school. If you're using our wireless network, the assumption is there's no expectation of privacy.
But they can go on their own wireless and avoid going on ours.
If they use their own
connection.
connection, their data plan, and that's where it gets very technical with, you know, law enforcement, you know, and figuring out who and what and how they accessed it, so.
If they're using their own, how can we govern something that we don't own? Other than to say,
Because they're using the system.
Right, and they did it from the property.
Yeah, they're using the school system to
Yes.
access the.
Right, if they're using that, but if they're using their own
Their own, but they're
internet.
still in school property, isn't that when it comes into play,
No,
that
you
they've done
can't.
something wrong, or?
We don't have
When they're
the
accessing
ability
that?
to,
You
no,
get a search
that's
You
a
don't know
person,
that,
yeah,
okay,
you'd have
got
to have a
it.
warrant to do that.
so, I need to back, still on the same page. So who do you have on this committee?
I don't have anybody on it because it's a brand-new committee, so it
Okay.
would be something that's gonna be effective in, starting next year. This legislation just passed, so it's it's brand new for all of us.
Okay.
So we have to create a technology governance committee, and I have to appoint individuals that are gonna be on there, and, you know,
Can Travis come in and explain to us what the district can access when someone uses our wireless?
mhm.
Because I don't like that.
Mhm.
I don't, just because they're using our wireless, I don't know that,
I think most places are like that.
you should.
But I can have him come and talk about it.
Well, because my issue is if we're gonna have a policy of that, then we aren't just gonna randomly, every Wednesday it's, you know, from 8 to 3, we're gonna look at the server to see who's using it and what they're doing.
Mhm.
You know, I think everybody involved should be able to have an expectation of privacy, whether it's parents that come up here and would use our wireless to, I mean, that's a broad brush. I'd like to know what he actually can access.
Okay.
And I don't know that I like the fact that he can actually, if he can actually access it, because again, if there's a policy with it of how and when we would use it, that would be one thing. You know, I mean, if law enforcement come in and said, hey, this conversation was picked up, we'd like it, if you can go back and live, you know, go back in time and pull it, that's one thing if we're trying to solve a crime. But if we wanna look at what people are doing on lunch, you know, I don't know that that's any of our business, no matter whose wireless they're using.
So, something to kind of, that branches off into that, if you look at 7540, it's page 1 of 3. It says technology privacy at the top. So this one really deals with staff members, and similar to what we were just talking about was their right to privacy when using district technology resources. You're going to have to make some decisions on the next page, on page 2 of 3, where essentially the first option talks about no personal messages should be exchanged from any board-issued technology. Option 2 would be that they should be limited in accordance with some guidelines that we would set forth. And so my recommendation on that, just again, would probably be to lean towards option 2, just from the simple fact that it's very difficult to police all. Yeah, I think of the emails even that we send out just about a staff member's birthday, you know, and that technically would fall out of compliance with our policy if we chose one. So, not saying that we can't make those adjustments, but my recommendation for that would be to have reasonable use and reasonable guidelines for that.
Okay, can you back up again? I thought I wasn't done with that.
Oh, sure.
7540, page 2 of 6. The policy 7530.02, I didn't have that in my book, so I don't know what that is. And I I wondered if we should include those two policies in our handbook or something so that the parents are aware with what is posted in regards to this technology issue. That was just a thought. And that
Well,
was
that's a good point, and we can have this for discussion again at our next meeting, and I can ask Travis to come to talk specifically about what we can and can't access, as you kind of mentioned.
And then on 7540, page 3 of 6, it talks about safeguards, and who's going to be instructing this? Is it going to be our computer teachers, or are you bringing in Officer Szymanski, or what are we doing here?
You're talking about how we're going to establish safeguards?
Yes.
So that would be something that would fall under Travis's umbrella.
Okay.
As we're really looking at our access to different, logins and protecting those logins, things like that. But I also think, as far as our practices and procedures goes, he's the person that would be working to develop those things.
Okay, but then it says students shall be educated about appropriate online behavior. So Travis will go in and educate our students?
No. Travis will be in charge.
Question.
Okay, that's the question. So Travis will be in charge of setting that up, and then we have meetings with the students at the beginning of every year. So at the elementary level, it happens within each classroom. The teachers will take them down to the lab and they'll talk through. The students actually learn about the appropriate use of technology. And then at the middle school and high school, we actually have meetings with the whole classes, and we talk to them about acceptable use guidelines, what can happen, what not to post, all of those types of things.
So the teachers are
The teachers and
responsible.
or administrators are responsible for that.
And is that updated yearly?
Yes.
Okay.
I can say that sometimes there are minimal changes,
Okay.
but, yes, it's looked at.
On this point 1, option 1 and option 2, so if we pick option 2, then we're gonna have another set of guidelines that would be your rules or your policy on what is gonna be defined as a personal message to what's reasonable and unreasonable.
Right, which we don't have anything published right now, so we would have to develop those. And so we would want to talk about, what would be in the spirit of your expectations as a board? Is this something that we want absolutely no personal communication, or, we want to start talking about, it needs to be school appropriate, and we can start looking at some of those types of things.
I think when we're talking about our devices, it should be school related. To tell you I'm gonna meet you at McDonald's after school, use your own device. To talk about, hey, I'll be at that meeting at 10:30 today in whatever, the gym, that's fine. I think that's pretty, and as far as like sending out a birthday message, while it could be personal in nature, it's still pretty school related. If you wish one of your staff members a happy birthday, I don't think that's unreasonable to fall in there. And that's just my opinion, but when it comes to that's where I'll separate the two between the wireless and our device. I think our device should have a pretty tight usage.
Okay.
Because all we're doing is we're opening a slippery slope here in 2, because then it's spinning it one way and then another, and well, this is what I was trying to say, but it doesn't sound like that. If it's school-related business, I don't see where it's a problem, and maybe that's something we can stick in number 1. A little personal message should be exchanged, but school-related. That's, to me, that's not an issue. But
That's good.
well, because you're going to have to develop another policy.
Yeah.
With that policy, and I don't think we can really okay this policy until we see what yours is.
well, that's what you'd be doing, you'd have to trust me, so, you know. But I think the rest of this piece, it's coming from that legislation that talks about access and, you know, especially for web content access, and we talked a little bit about that this past week. There are some definitions to look through, and we can have it for discussion again next time. If you have other questions, I can bring Travis if we need to.
Yeah, and one question, if you can remember this for Travis, is how would we allow kids on social media through using our Wi-Fi when that is pretty much almost, the ISD pretty much shuts down you to be able to use this, like when the students log in for the Wi-Fi, they can't access Facebook or Twitter or whatever using that wireless anyhow.
We do have a firewall that locks a lot of that down.
Yeah, it locks all social media down. I mean, they're,
No.
Not all.
huh?
No.
Don't we have teachers who are tweeting
Yeah.
out pictures and information
Mhm.
to,
Yeah, so it's, you're actually,
and administrators, sorry?
you're encouraged to.
Right, but there's two different logins. The Wi-Fi probably has, what, several different logins? Staff, students?
Guest is used by almost everyone.
Huh?
Guest, Swartz Creek Guest is what almost everyone uses.
Okay, and what does that allow, everything?
It does not allow Facebook, but I know that YouTube and Twitter is open.
Okay.
But they can't access inappropriate web content.
Right,
You know,
that's what I'm saying, but there's, what is accessible through it? And is it, that's through guest, then what does the students allow?
Students get on through Guest too.
Right, they can, but
There's
I
one.
guess here's my simple question. How many different options are for you to get on Wi-Fi within our district?
The only one that's open and not locked is Guest.
So the rest of them all have some form of secured mechanism in them. Okay, that's my point.
But I'm here to tell you.
So if we're tuning everybody loose with guests, then why are we trying to lock down the other ones? Because if everybody can get on the guest one and you can have free access, why wouldn't you just let the students have free access? We set up a safeguard that really there's no safeguard in place because the students get on the guest. Doesn't make a lot of sense. We limit what they can do when they log in under the student, but yet when they log in as a guest, it's wide open. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So maybe Travis can come and enlighten
I
us.
think he can be the person to answer that.
Any other questions for Ben?
I do. Ben, on 7540.01, page 3 of 3. As I read this, the couple of questions that I came back with, is there a time limit that we are sitting on all this information? And it says staff members shall not copy, delete, or remove any information, so we're talking about a lot of information.
That's in the first paragraph there. Third paragraph.
Right.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I see.
Which puts a lot on your plate as well.
Oh, yeah. We'll look
This is
into that.
version one.
Mhm. Yeah.
That happens every day.
All right, so the next piece there, we had a brief discussion at our last meeting, and everybody really wanted to make sure that Mr. Sapanic was here to weigh in on it, so this is your opportunity. So for proposed
For
board
the
meeting dates.
we didn't wanna say okay unless you
Meeting
were here
dates.
with them.
I'm open. I'm open to them all.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Okay. Well, glad we gave you that opportunity.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tony.
We truly
Oh my
didn't-
gosh!
truly didn't want to make a
Thank
decision
you.
without you.
That's right. They were thinking of it.
I appreciate that. I'm very pleased.
All right.
Okay, next we have the agenda review committee discussion. Lorraine, you had asked to have that added.
So what are we doing with these? These are just proposed dates?
These are the proposed changes. The ones that are in italics are the changes. The ones that are not in italics were already scheduled.
And this is just a discussion time on these?
This is just the discussion time if you had any questions.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so the agenda review committee discussion, right?
Yes. You know, our agenda review committees, the meetings last about 15 minutes. And actually, it's the superintendent's job to set the agenda, approved by Carrie, and then it's brought to the board for approval at the night of the meeting. And we all have access to that before it comes to the meeting, so if we have anything that we want on the meeting or we want deleted or whatever, we have access to do that. My proposal would be to delete all agenda review meetings, and that, my estimated cost of that is about $1,600. And I think we could use that money better serving our district when we have a workshop where we're all there or something to that effect. So I just,
I'll go to midnight.
What are your thoughts?
I support that 100%. I think, you know, the way that we have been able to give you access through technology, the way that we can give you the agenda ahead of time, and even the day of, if you call Carrie or myself, if you call me and say, hey, I'd like to add this or take, you know, move this out, we can get that done ahead of the meeting. So I think it does save time and money.
do you want that as a proposal now?
Yeah,
Now?
I think we could add that to the
To the
board
action
action
items.
As long as, you know, I mean, I think Lorraine's idea is a great idea, but I don't know if any of the rest of you.
So the process going forward would be, you would propose an agenda, I would look at it, we could talk about.
And then it's gonna go to everybody. And then, typically what we do is we get the agendas out. Now, Joan wasn't here this past week, so I appreciate you being patient. We got them to you on Monday, I think, but, typically we get them to you on Friday, the week before the meeting. So you can look at them, review them, they're uploaded to the e-board, and anytime up to the meeting, you can let us know, and then you officially would have to approve it then at the meeting itself.
So we'll add that to our board action items.
So that would be 9D.
Right, 90. For you, Joan. It's 90.
Thank you.
All right, anything else on that topic? All right, moving on, the GISD biennial election resolution number 2. We had looked at resolution number 1 back in April. And you should have the hard copy of the resolution as well as it's on your e-board. Ben and I were a little confused about what the process was here, given the fact that we did not receive more than one candidate for the GISD board, unless some of you got it in the mail at home. Okay.
I
So
sent you the one email from the gentleman.
Richard Hill was a gentleman we received. In the past, they have either emailed us individually or they have sent them to our homes. And I didn't receive anything, but I wasn't sure if any of you had. So it looks like we have received Mr. Richard Hill as a candidate for the GISD. So this particular process is such that we have to designate the representatives, which I believe are number 1 designated Stacy and Tony as the backup. So we've already done that in April. So at this point, we are looking at allowing them or giving them the authority to vote on our behalf for an individual. And that individual is Mr. Hill, unless someone has another candidate. Is there any objection to that? Okay. So given that, I think we've covered our bases here.
So that, as a reminder, Stacy, it's Monday, June 5th.
Thank
that you
you.
would attend unless you, if you can't, Tony will go in your stead. So, I need a motion to complete number 2.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, Stacy and Mike. Any comments or questions?
Does it see what time? Until 7 o'clock?
No?
No.
Okay.
Does it say?
Be it resolved, the Swartz Creek Community Schools Board of Education approved the GISD biennial election resolution number 2 as presented, which means we'll now nominate or complete this with Mr. Hill for you to take forward. Okay?
Does it say what time that meeting is somewhere in here? No. It
7
says
o'clock.
June 5th, 7. No, that's
That's-
No, that's ours.
That's ours.
Good question.
I think I need to know it then.
All day.
Well, I do have a job.
It's on the letter, 5:30.
Oh, good enough, thank you. 5:30, and that's at the GISD, right? 5:30, okay, thanks.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
I can't make it, Tony.
It's early today.
Just kidding.
Okay, hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great, thank you. Check that one off our list. Next, we have the board committee calendar dates that Ben just presented to us. Need a motion?
That'll
So
change,
moved.
right? When we vote on 9D?
These would
These
just
are
be
the
for the
regular.
regular.
Oh,
board
just
meetings.
regular, not the,
So moved. So Stacy, a second?
Support.
Ken, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, band field trip to Disney. Only if we can go too.
Maybe I will for you for chaperone.
The only correction is it's 2019, not 2018.
Yes.
So we will make that correction. Thanks, Jean. All right, as it was presented to us, we have an opportunity for the band to visit Disney and to represent Swartz Creek. I need a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Stacy, Brian, any comments or questions?
Can chaperones go?
Hearing,
Absolutely.
Yay.
We will need chaperones.
Okay.
hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We wish you well on that endeavor.
I know, right?
Finally, we have a recommendation that we cancel our agenda review committee, replace it with a process for the board president to review, followed by review of all the board, and need a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Brian, Stacy, any comments or
You can't do
questions?
both.
She took this one.
Any comments or questions? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, finally, we are to the public comments section of our meeting. If you'd like to address the board, please stand, state your name. If you wish your address, and keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Thank you.
Hi, I'm glad to stand up. I'm Sue Hill, Siren Elementary special ed teacher, and I live in Durant. When Ken was talking, it kind of got in the back of my head about the property and all that kind of thing. The one thing that I was noticing, and I'm not a member of this community, okay, but I'm on the Swartz Creek Facebook page and some things like that, and it was just brought up on there. There's a really nice group of people who are on that, well, the Swartz Creek page and then the Winchester Woods page or whatever, neighborhood. But anyway, they're talking about these walking trails and that kind of thing. And then we're talking about community here, okay? And we have some really good opportunities to reach out and bond with the community, okay? And one thing I think about was in Traverse City, my friend taught up there, but when they built the new middle school there, they had walking paths laid out, and that was in the building, okay? So they had their library open at some time, so the community could come in and use the building. So, you know, they passed this gigantic millage, and I grant you, Traverse City's a whole different ballgame than right here. But I think anything that we can do to reach out to the community and include them in whatever manner, it just helps so much when we get down to needing money or we have a millage or anything else. And Carrie can tell you, I've been here for a good long while, And Ben congratulated me on my retirement. Fortunately, I'm not retiring. I think he was mixed up with my roommate Connie. I said, do you know something? I know, because I was feeling a little, but I really do love what I'm doing, and I love this community, even though I do live in Durand. That was kind of like I got married and I'm out there, but I love this community. I've been here since, hold your breath, just about as long as the lockers there. No, I graduated in '74, but I've been here since 1980, okay? So I do have a lot of connections in the community, and I love this community, and I love this school district, and I just think every time we have an opportunity to bring someone in, we can't maybe do everything, but if we're not saying no here, no there, no the other place, I think we can really form those liaisons. And I do like what Ken said too about having a dream, and I know this property and everything's just in the talking phase, but these two people had a dream. They had a dream, and they played Dream the Impossible Dream, and we now have a pack. So we need a dream, but if we keep pulling people in at lower levels and using our facilities and everything to enrich this community, I think we can realize anything, right guys? Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Can I address that for a minute? We did have, our schools were open to a walking program at one time.
Yes, they were.
Then Community Ed got involved and started charging them $1. And it was a lot of senior citizens, I believe, that participated in that, and they felt, why should they pay $1 to walk in a building that they pay taxes on? They'll go to Genesee Valley and walk for free. And that's kind of where I think that program dissolved. So I don't know if that's something you want to look at again. There was quite a big group that did walk.
They did. That'd be great.
Before they charged the $1.
We'll look into that, for sure.
Anybody else?
Jim Thompson, 8196 Miller, and I am very impressed with the board and the kind of interaction. I see a lot of things getting done here, and contributions from everybody. Thank you for your service. Last night I was at the PAC at the spring band concert, and you got two stellar teachers. The relationships that they have with those kids are beautiful, and those kids respond, and they're bright. Every one of them going to a top level school, 10 graduates in the band. Tomorrow night, if you want to hear the piano, come to the Pops concert at the PAC. Get there early, the seats are going to be full. Thank you.
Are you playing, Mr. Thompson?
No.
She's like, no.
Are you gonna be there for security?
Play chess.
Thank you.
Are you gonna be there for security?
Anyone else?
Charity tomorrow night?
Okay.
Oh my God.
Comments and questions from the board?
I have a couple. First off, I would like to thank Mr. Matt Parker and Richard Thompson. They did a super job singing the national anthem at the Veterans Memorial this evening for the USS Stark. I would like to thank Lisa Mahalchek at the high school for taking care of the Kiss Your Seniors Goodbye. I'm sure that's a big endeavor to fill the little candy bags. I would like to say thanks to Corey for getting the packets ready for us while Joan was gone. We missed you, Joan. And a thank you to the band boosters for their funding and getting new lockers. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'd like to say, I believe this is the first time the girls varsity soccer team is undefeated. The
Yeah.
Metro League champs are 15-0-1, and I think they've only had one goal scored on them all year.
Yeah, they did amazing.
And it was the very
Yes.
first game, it was a 1-1 tie, and after that, they shut everybody out, 15
did.
straight games.
Anyone else? I know he's not here, but the other Mr. Thompson is hosting exit interviews for the academy, and Stacy and I were able to be there as guest. I don't know what we were.
We judged, or we.
Guest reviewers
Yes,
today.
yeah.
And it's just amazing to hear these students and what their aspirations are and how far they've come, and to have them be there with their families. I know, we were like, oh. There were some tears shed, myself included, but it was just really nice to be there, and so.
How many
I
graduates
appreciate
are we gonna
that.
have?
We're gonna
I-
have 18, 20?
20-ish, including the GED students, so that'll be a nice event on June 9th.
And then Carrie and her husband are going to do the open house for them as well again, for the food, so it'd be very nice if you
Anybody
guys
wants
could
to come,
come.
can come.
Yeah. Yeah. So, he's doing an excellent job, and those children love him very much, so, yes.
So, thank your son.
We'll pass that.
Thanks for being there. It was very nice, so thank you. Anything else? Rod?
I just wanted to comment yesterday that Ben's leadership at the PD was outstanding. We had 200 teachers in the lower bowl of the PAC. And we've had many internal people, principals, assistant superintendents, teachers lead PD, but he had them engaged for a solid hour without a hiccup. And not only was it engaging, but it was very purposeful in what we're trying to accomplish, tied into our future goals on culture and engagement. So to see them at that level of engagement and then talk afterwards about how excited they were to be talking about something that's not a very fun topic. Teacher evaluation is normally a very contentious topic, but the way that Ben framed it and presented it and allowed for interaction was a great experience.
Thank you very much.
There's one thing. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, and just saying, for Ben, I just appreciate your, transparency and what you did, that everyone knew. How you got it out there for everyone to know, and, there was no negativeness on it. It just was very, very informative, and, I just think you're doing an amazing job, so thank you for everything that you're doing. And
My
you
pleasure.
hear all of our voices, and let us all be a part and you care, so it means a lot, it really does.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
I'm gonna piggyback on both Rod and Stacy. Today briefly, I had a question that I was gonna bring up here, and I called Ben and we talked and squashed it, so it didn't have to be brought up here. But something I did share with him was the same thing these two just shared, and after he got here, he visited every building, and I received several phone calls from different staff members at different levels, teachers and some aides, and it was amazing what someone going and visiting those folks and formally introducing themselves to everybody, not just the administrators, not just some of the teachers, maybe the union leadership, or maybe not the union leadership. He introduced himself to everybody. And I think one of the funniest conversations was with a friend of mine that was an aide. He actually listened. And I said, well, yeah. I said, he was talking to me. No, he listened. And I said, okay, relax. But that's, I shared that with him today, and I wasn't going to share that here, but I'd piggyback on both of you. I do believe there's some huge differences made with the interaction with the staff. So, good luck, keep going, and
Thank
all
you,
that
and,
good stuff.
and truly, it's been an honor. I mean, it's fun to work with people that are pulling in the same direction. You guys have, I think, a common vision, and you're all different, and I think that your disagreements make us stronger, but also that you look to try and do what's best for our kids, and I have felt that, and I appreciate your support. So it's been an awesome opportunity for me, and I love it here, and I love the community, and I'm excited to see us continue to move forward. So thank you very much.
I also want to take a moment and thank Mrs. Murdoch and Mr. Michael for what they do for our students as well.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it. And those statistics, which I've wanted to see for a very long time. The valedictorians, salutatorians in the top 10. That's just astounding. So thank you so much.
And too, like, even you said, now some of them are in football or whatever. I mean, as long as even the softball kids came to the concert, they were able to wear their costume, their uniform, and she just, you know, you're just great. It's not like they have to be stressed or want to get dressed, and they just love you because you're true and you're you. You know what I mean? You just, she does. So thank you.
No, thank you, we don't care, we just want to.
Listen, it doesn't. Yeah, come with your rooster pony, whatever. But yes.
I have a question
Yeah.
in regards to that. You know, we have athletic scholars. Do we have band scholars? Is there a program where they're recognized, you know, at the end of the year with a plaque or?
Oh, our band banquets every year. That's in the fall.
Okay.
They earn a varsity letter. There's at the end of their second year of marching band.
Okay.
They get a first, second, third, and fourth year pin. And we also give most improved and most outstanding marcher player awards every year.
But that isn't the same as the athletic
Where
scholars.
it's like 3.5 and they've also
Right, and they
participated.
do that, I think, twice a year.
That would be an MSBO. I don't know if they have an award like that.
MSBOA, you are allowed to give one per building per year.
Okay. Wow.
I think somebody subbed that.
Maybe we should make that, you know, twice a year for us, and which is semester division, and at least recognize our band scholars. I know when they have the athletic scholars, they make a night program, you know, where the parents are invited and they have a kind of a to-do. So maybe we should consider that for our band.
Great.
I was thinking about exploiting that information. That really impressed me to either put it in the View or put it on our website. You know,
You might have a connection to the View.
Keep paying attention.
All right, anybody else? Anything else?
There you go.
Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, John. Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Rod.
We should
Thank you, Ben.
include the band with the
With the
scholar athletes. Why
Yeah,
make it
there
separate?
you go. And have it all in one night.
Okay.
I like
Why
that.
make it separate?
Okay?
All right, with that, we shall adjourn. Thank you, everybody.
You like a new seat there, Stan?
I like it.
All right.
I like this
As
thing.
long as you're
I
happy.
like it. I'm very happy.
As long as you're happy. Rainbows and unicorns, rainbows and unicorns.
I got things to put together. Yeah, I'll be back. Yes. I got into my 30 this morning.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Where did you go, Joe?
Texas.
Oh,
To
to your granddaughter?
She didn't graduate though because she couldn't. They have to do 38 sit-ups in 1 minute, and she did 30. So she couldn't.
Thursday morning.
She couldn't graduate because she
Oh, I know.
I'm trying for 5 weeks. Once a week for 5 weeks. And she got 28 yesterday. So she's got 4 more weeks to try to make it, and then she can graduate that 38.